When I found your system, it immediately clicked with me because it was exactly what I was looking for with my detoxification. That I was kind of was up leveling my brand, and so I was kind of creating an upgraded practice. And with the 3 pillars I had already created, your system came to me at the perfect time. It was incredible. It was almost like it was crafted. So the enzyme piece was what I was missing, and that was like the magic that put everything all together, because I was trying to, with all of my knowledge, trying to get the detoxification kind of different protocols together for people. And just, I was building a new website. And then when your information on enzymes came to me, I was like, holy cow. And what you just mentioned there earlier about this takes what people like us would do, because I was into natural hygiene for 2 years. I was that's my background, is natural hygiene. It takes what normal people won't do and makes it possible for them. That's one of the first things that I noticed, and a lot easier for us that went through hell, to get these minuscule kind of results that the ZenCleanz can get in such a short period of time. All right, so welcome to LIVETRU podcast. I'm Teri Lynn, and I have a practice called LIVETRU. And my model of LIVETRU is really living in integrity. And I base my current brand and model on what I call the 3 pillars. Detoxification 3 pillars: the body, the physical body, the mind and emotions, and also the spiritual level. So I believe that all those things are really necessary, and I think you're going to agree with me, to get the person, the entity, in a state of able to receive good things. I think that right now we're so overloaded with toxins on a physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual level that it really needs to start with the road to health. Really needs to start with detoxification, because once we create a void in one of those 3 levels, then we're in a spot where we can accept something better. But until we create that void, there's no space for that. So that's kind of how what the model is for LIVETRU. And before I get into that too much, actually, I wanted to ask you, so you go by the name Daniel. Can you please just tell me, and go by the name Zoomin, and I'm not sure, just tell me what your name is.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's start with this. It's
Okay.
interesting because actually Zuman is a name that I just made up. Okay? It's the first name that I give myself. I've been given a name, was Daniel Taillefer. I'm French Canadian, yeah, and
Okay.
I just played with it. Daniel was in the Bible, was someone that the lions, didn't eat in the cage. Hungry lions didn't eat in the cage, and I just roll on this. It was cool, and I was like feeling good about it. Feeling like, oh, even the lions is just my friends too. So, and then later, I've been ordained as a Zen monk in my early 30s, and the master gave me the name Doki. It was a Soto Zen tradition, Japanese Doki. In Chinese is Dao Qi, which is the energy of the way. Okay, so and I rolled on this for a while. I was not like, nobody ever, all my friends that called me like this, but that was another given name that I was using to inspire me from the masters who gave me. And then later I went to China and studied Kung Fu, and the master, there were too many Daniels. There was too many people from UK, and in my generation, Daniel was not a rare name, and so we had a few. One was Baby Dan, another one was Bearded Dan, and the master called me Lino. Lino means like power buffalo. You know, I'm a buffalo in Chinese astrology, and Li is more my, means power, means energy in Chinese. So he was associating me with this. So I ran on this while I was in China. When I moved out of China, I just changed the Neo for Ox. So Daniel Lee Ox is the name that you knew me on, right?
Yeah.
And then later I met another master, a Neigong master, and he called me Ziran. Ziran in Chinese means nature, and that was also, there's a depth in this when they give you a name. Um, he told me, this master told me, is like there's a part when we give a name to a disciple, there's a part that represents who they are, but there's also another side that represent what they need to work on. And for me, it touched me very deeply, because all my life I was pushing. I wanted to become a master. I wanted to push, and all this. So it really touched me deeply. He was somehow telling me, yeah, it's like your nature, you're wild, and all this, but there's a part that you need to accept from the pacing of life. Something that you need to let go, not push and change and force all the time. So this followed me, and I never used the name Duran, like nobody ever called me like this, but it was a name that was still given to me, and that had a deep meaning and helped me in my evolution, I would say. Okay. Zooman for me is a mixture of zoo, animal, the zoo, right? And human, it's like the
Okay.
harmony. So,
Interesting.
the wild, the human getting back to its wilderness, to its wild state, its sovereign state, um, and its true nature. Okay, and in harmony with every living things. That's the deeper meaning. And rev is zoom and rev is there's
Right.
a part is kind of some kind of a revolution, a part, because there's some kind of a shift, I think, that I would like to see in humanity, getting back also to this wilderness, to this authenticity, so I can benefit the gift that everyone is came here to offer. And rev in French, because I'm French Canadian, it means also dream. Un rêve. Yeah. So if you put this together, it's some kind of a reminder, an intention, a kind of affirmation, and it's the first name I give myself to. Every other name is someone else gave it to me. So in my process is more like me taking the lead also of my the meaning of my life, or my destiny. But eventually I'll get used to it, and people will call me Zuman, and yeah, I'll probably keep this for a while, unless my intentions
Interesting.
change. And the situation we live worldwide at the moment is like, I can see that we've been trained to follow so much. So this is part of also of the affirmation of my sovereignty.
That was a very deep answer. That's what your name is.
Yeah, have you ever got this in your life? That's what your name is like,
Well,
and then half an hour later, is that okay?
I know. Okay. I'll call you Daniel. Well, it's just interesting because I added a name to myself too. I actually legalized it. So I have a totally different name. Teri Lynn is not my legal name anymore. So, but for some of the same reasons, I would have explained it totally different. But some of the same reasons that you just did, I came up with my own name as kind of a stepping into sovereignty. And my name also means something. It's characterizes me. So it's just interesting that you said all of that.
Yes, I don't want to intimidate anyone with that or think that I'm nothing special. It's just it's more for myself. It's a kind of an affirmation, and also saying, yeah, I give myself this name, and it's gonna be it for the next segment of my life.
Next segment, right?
So
Like that.
you can forget the story. I will keep it.
Okay. So you also have an interesting history. I don't know much about it, and that's what I kind of wanted to know a little bit about. Is I know that you ran a detoxification clinic or a spa. I don't know what you called it for quite a while, for a number of years. So I want to talk about just, I don't know, people say their credentials, but just kind of your experience, because this is going to lead us into what you've created with ZenCleanz. And I think it's important for people just to kind of know that you do have some history and some experience behind what you're doing now. So tell me a little bit about the detox clinic that you had.
Hmm. Yeah, and but getting there, how I got there, I graduated in filmmaking. I worked professionally, an early career, so I never went very high in the ranks of the film industry. But that was my dream since I was a kid, and I didn't. I wasn't ready to let go, but I was also a swimmer, a sport person, and I started to have a personal issue. So for me, for some people, they say, "Oh, it will pass, it will pass, it will pass." But me, I was so self-conscious that it was destroying my life. It was like I was not as present as before. It was annoying me. There was nothing more important for me than to resolve that thing. I was like 25 or 20, early before 25, and I was just imagining myself 25 years later. I would be 50, and what would I look like? I was seeing myself in a wheelchair or something. So it
Wow.
was. I took that very, very seriously, and I got started to have treatments, but everyone was signing me up for indefinite series of treatments and all this, and I couldn't afford that, and so I signed up into a school because I thought, every people I'll meet there, every teachers will be doctors, they can help me. So that was cheaper. That was cheaper for me to choose that. And why I chose Chinese medicine is because my roommate, who was a sound man on the films I was working on, went to Mexico, okay, for a holiday, and he learned walking shiatsu, and he came back and he said, "You're back. Lie down in the living room. I'll walk over you." And that was the best treatment I've ever had. So I started looking in the yellow pages and found a school, and I started studying. And for me, it was a revelation. It was a revelation. Everything I was reading, I became really passionate. I almost took over my filmmaking thing. It's like, wow, I was totally passionate, resonated deeply in me, and then I kept going until I graduated. And in this time period, I read a book because I was introduced by all kind of weirdos in those schools at this time. It's like, oh my God, it was really something special for me. All the people, all kinds of fields and gems and astrologers and chiropractors. It was kind of a very fun one, but I was really captivated by this, and I got handed the book of Dr. Shelton called Fasting. And Dr. Shelton is the Pope of hygienist method, pure orthodox water fasting. You drink water and lie down. You don't even read it, and all this. But it was a brick like this, and there was a lot. I learned so much about it. And as soon as I finished the book, I looked for a center to do it, and I signed up for 3 weeks. So, and I just, wow, it's like it was the hardest time because I born in the beginning of 60 with the coming of the processed food and name it. So I was very toxic right up to 25 years old. I was, my God. And so my first water fasting was very hard. But when I came out, the feeling I had and the result, even if I was young, people could notice, say, "What did you do? Look at your eyes, look at your skin," because I had really bad skin before. I said, "Wow!" So I never stopped. So I never stopped, and that was religiously twice a year. I was fasting like at least a month a year, twice, 2 weeks, plus a little 3 days here, a little, throughout the year. So recently I calculated I fasted more about 2 years. I haven't eaten in my life. So through all those years, I gained experience, about what is going on, and I kept reading, Dr. Jensen, Gerson, name it. I tried the Horizon Shine and all the juice fasting, name it. I think there's not many things that I didn't try, and surely some, okay, but I was always coming back to the water fasting because I really thought that was the deepest, that was the most powerful, the fastest. And with my personality, you could face hardship. And I would say partly because of my personality and partly because of my sport. In sport, normally you break through, you reach the second breath. And so I kind of enjoyed it, and meditation also, it's like you break through. It's not like 5 minutes later you say I have enough and on it. I was in the Zen tradition. You couldn't move, you cannot make a noise, everything, otherwise they beat you, so 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 I was fine with that. So years later, I'm in Bali, and I always meet people. I do my Chinese medicine, and there's the people I just know that what they need to do first is cleansing. It's like you work on things, you put needles, you just do exercise, you do treatments, but if they don't cleanse, you will never clean the slate to start and build on a clean land. So I knew that was it, but with what I was suggesting was too harsh for most people. Very few people, I know can water fast more than one day, and it's hell, It's like, so don't even suggest like 2 weeks. It will like, you know. But still, I was stubborn, and you do it, okay. You don't do it, I don't care. You don't do it. That was not my work anyway. I was teaching qigong and doing thing, but at some point I started to guide people into had enough experience, and I could tell ahead of time what was going on with people. They were safe, to water fast with me, and I started it here in Bali, but a couple of years later I moved back to China, and I opened a center. And this is where actually I led people through water fasting. We had the full equipment over there. It was we had everything to do that properly, the rooms, everything. And then this is where the enzyme came in. So because I was there, and someone from Taiwan just saw the detox center, and they just came for a peek. They were just on holiday. I was living in the tourist area. The center was in the tourist area, and they came and they met me, and they wanted me to go visit them and try the products. And I was like, I really thought I knew it all, And then at some point they sent me plane tickets and hotel rooms. It was okay, free trip, and so I will visit. I went there. I got greeted by Chinese medicine doctor, naturopathic doctor, PowerPoints, and uh, I saw the professionalism and that they were using traditional method, and I knew that it was coming from the Buddhist and Taoist monks, those methods of fermentation. Like, it was wow, it's quite something. I never allowed myself to listen enough to them. But at this time I was there, I was fully present. And at the same time, they were giving me the drinks of the ZenCleanz, It was ZenCleanz was not existing then, but of this intestinal cleanse. And the next, and at the end of the day, they give me the basket and chopsticks, and they wanted me to collect and take picture for them. And they were going through a real professional process, pretty much the same process that we follow now with our users. And the next morning, this is where it shifted, because I've seen plaque in my life, with everything I've done, but so fast, never. So fast,
Right.
so easy, so so deep. So what came to my mind, it was not like, oh wow, cool, the plaque, as I say, I've seen this before. But what came to my mind was, oh my God, if all the people I I guided through water fasting, if I had this tool, so many people that I shook hands that say, thank you, Doc. He's told me, thank you, Doc. I knew that these people will never do it again. Because of the hardship they went through emotionally, physically, uncomfortable, long time, impatience, name it. If I had this, the question would have been it would have been, what's next, Doc? And, I would have felt that they were engaging in the self-healing process with putting them on the hardcore lane right at the beginning. I had this feeling of failure oftentimes.
Mm.
So that got me very, very interested in knowing more. I took some time to study what enzyme is. My God, I knew, but with the studies I did, but I went deeper into the knowledge. I tried, like some liquid blends, having the enzymes daily, and I could feel the change, the power of that. And then finally I say, because they wanted me to work with them, but after 2 years I say, I'm not gonna go work with you. I'm gonna.
So at this point, I want to make clear something to myself, is that had you gone through any TCM training? Did you say you
Well,
were?
I was younger. Yeah, of course. Oh my
Okay, so when
God.
you're younger, so
I studied this. Actually, I was on the board of the first acupuncture school in Quebec, Canada, because when I started, there was no school. So I was studying in the school. It was like a school made of like people who lived in China or Japan and studied long, and they were doctors and all this, and they created a school, but it was nothing like governmental. So it came later. So I kind of entered on the grandfather clause.
right.
Yeah.
So when you had your detox clinic, so that was after you had already received this kind of informal it's not really formal training, but this informal training with these other people that were training to be specialists or doctors or something. Was it TCM? So you had, just
Yeah,
tell
that
me.
was my first training. This is the beginning of the story. The school hired me to work as an assistant teacher. I was really passionate, and they noticed, and they hired me to give treatment into their clinic. And then after that, I got my own. And
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that. So by this time, you had already had some
yeah,
of
but
that.
I left my license when I left Canada in 2005. I didn't renew anything because first I wanted to leave that in the back, and anyway, you cannot be doctor in another country, and I was more into self healing, teaching than giving treatment. Of course, I kept using it, and I still use it sometimes for
Of course.
for people for emergency or things like that. But I'm not interested in doing this anymore.
So what is your accent then? I
I'm
can't
French
place it.
Canadian.
So that's where the accent comes from?
I don't know. I think it's a pretty bastard accent because I learned my English from traveling, and so there's a little bit of UK, maybe some a little bit of South Africa, Australia,
So
US,
what's
Canada.
your
I'm
what's
French.
your
My
French?
mother language is French.
French. Okay, yeah, you don't sound French to me. I could be wrong. So when you started, when they start, so I'm curious. So why were they trying so hard with you? What was your clinic real fancy that they were like, "Hey, who's this guy?" But why were they trying to like really kind of woo you into their processes?
Because I'm blonde and blue eyed.
All right.
In China, is the marketing is good there. And if you're
All right.
a Chinese medicine doctor on top of this, and you know what detox is about, and you're a teacher, and I'm kind of a verbal person, so all these things, and like I was a grown up man already, so I think
All right. So they saw value in you.
all these together, for them it was. They wanted me to get training because there was some some brands sold in China, and they wanted to create training because there was many centers, and a lot of people investing in this are investing from a business standpoint. So so how do we create a training for them because they cannot really create it for themselves? So creating like a training system to share with uh, that so they can train their staff. But for me, I was too old for that. It's like I had my own vision, my own dreams, and I didn't want to. If I would have been in my 30s, I would have jumped on the opportunity for sure. But at the age I had, it just came so strong in my mind that we need to bring this in the Western world.
Yeah.
We need to bring that to everyone. This will democratize detox. This will make detox available for everyone. As you mentioned before, it's like all the protocols we had. You really need to know what you were doing. It's like,
Yeah.
and then you know that you need this. Because you've been told that you need this, but why? You're not so sure, but you need to go shop for it, and which one is the best? And it was complicated, Me,
Yes.
my whole life was around this, and I was
Yes.
reading books, and but can you ask everyone to do that? No, it's like so, and it was taking time, and it was hard. So right now, with these, I say, okay, we will do the thinking for the people, and we will package that.
Yeah.
We'll package that into, and it's not like to say, okay, we'll make it easy. The this was I needed to be certain that I was dealing with the best product in the world. I would have not compromised with the plan B. If it was not better than everything I knew, I would have stuck to what I knew,
Mm-hmm.
you know
Yeah.
but was beyond everything. I was saying this is water fasting on steroids.
Exactly the same thing I say.
This
Yeah.
is wow, because
Yeah.
you still get on autolysis on this. You get all the process of the water fasting, and you had some Pac-Mans in it. It's like, whoa, it was like some. I would have not compromised on that. I'm not my type for health. Actually, don't compromise much. But so when I had this, uh, I started with this, and then I tested for 2 years on myself.
What was your first impression when they first started giving you these fermented enzymes? I don't know if they tasted the same, but what was your first impression there?
Well, as I said, I was in their headquarters, right?
Right?
This is where it happened. I was ravished by the seriousness and the knowledge they had. It was not like I was not the most knowledgeable person there, and it was. The process was easy. As I was going from PowerPoints to a chat with the TCM doctor and the etc. and the blood test and all this, they were giving me the drinks. It was pretty tasty, easy. for me to take. So that day just, went through that day very easily. And so my impression was the whole process was, wow, it's really swift. And I was not the only one they invited at the same time there. I met other people, and there was ordinary people like this. They're more for business and etc. So I could see how they were also reacting to it, and there was no preparation. They took me on a buffet the day before, the night before. I'm not, it's like how can that be? It's like normally you ask people to prepare. No, they take me as a VIP to the nicest restaurant, and they just fed me like a pig. And and the next day I was entering this. It was easy. That was my feeling, when I left. That I was really ravished, and then I ordered 500 kits, and then for my clinique, and then I started to test on people with different illnesses, diabetes, arthritis, fibromyalgia, name it. I tried many, many, many issue. I did retreats where I was paying to send the guests before their journey, because for people who were coming for at least 10 days and more, I was sending them to hospital for a complete blood test, and at the end sending them again to compare. And I was just convinced at some point. It just was just clear that there was nothing to beat that. So so I decided not to join them and open the company in Taiwan, and that was the beginning of the saga. No experience in this side of the business, no experience in international business and to export food. This. I just jumped like Forrest Gump, and now 5 years later, I can tell we're everywhere. We're on every continent, and there's very knowledgeable people who have joined our affiliates and our distributors, and I think many people agree with me now. Like they would have been in my shoes, they would have wanted to do the same thing. So for me that was a big thing, and then after that was about developing uh, uh, other products to go, because it's the intestinal tract is one piece, but we have organs and filters and blood and tissues and heavy metal and parasites and name it, and all these kind of things. So for me, I started working with the faculty there, the consortium of traditional Chinese medicine and naturopathic doctors, to say, listen, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this. I want the 5 elements. I want to present a system that is easy to understand, intelligible. You know what you're doing, you understand, so we can educate the people, and it's not all over the place like what we see nowadays into this natural health industry, because everyone is pulling everyone and market around their product because they have this for sale. So for me, it was important to give something that would do the whole job, and also something that would not confront people who already have their protocol, because you can add these enzymes to everything you're doing. Doesn't matter. You will just boost it. It would, it's not that what we had before had no value. I just spent over 30 years of my life using this, and I was pretty well, but it was hard.
Right. Let's talk about enzymes, because it's kind of it's a good segue right now. A lot of people don't know what they are. I didn't know what they were. until recently. Of course, I've heard it, and of course, I kind of digestive enzymes. We know what that is, but there's two classes: the metabolic and the digestive, and we can't make metabolic. I mean, we can't supplement with metabolic enzymes. But so with when you're talking about the enzymes now, what are they, and why are they so important? And I have a theory of why calorie restricted diets. Tell me if you've come to the same conclusion. Um, they tend to people tend to live longer, is I think because their enzyme reserves are not tapped into. Their source enzymes are not used so much because they have a calorie restricted diet. So tell me if you agree with that. So give us the skinny on enzymes,
Mm.
what you
Yeah,
did learn.
you're right. You know, like this, you use the right terms as well. You know, like source enzyme. Source, you know, it's like you were given a vehicle with a full tank of because this is the spark plug. The enzyme is the spark plug. When there's no more spark, no matter how much fuel you have in it, it will not spark. No, it will go nowhere. And so this is what enzymes are in the system. It's something that is manufactured by the body for different purposes. Yeah, when we talk about metabolic enzymes, these are for beating the heart, breathing the lungs, moving my fingers, thinking, you know, all these things. It fuels the muscle, whatever, you know, it's all the mechanic of the body. And as you said, this you cannot supplement. Only the body can manufacture that. And they manufacture that from that bank account, source enzyme. Okay. So, and at the same time, we eat, and then the body requires digestive enzyme produced, takes from the same source. And this is okay. You become a digestive enzyme, and you need to break this down. So we make a protease, we make a lipase for fat, we make amylase for starch and sugar, and things like that. So, and we eat like pigs. Nowadays, that's the thing, is like, you know, we never accessed as much food in human history. We're just sitting in the sofa and eat 3 meals a day plus snacks, and you know, so so this doesn't show until a certain age, you know, like you eat like pigs, and you go run after you're a kid, or even in your 20s, 30s, and then suddenly, you know, boom, somewhere in the 40s, sometimes, oftentimes, whoop, you feel tired. Start to feel tired after the meal. You just don't feel as enthusiastic. You start feeling that you're growing old, you know. And this is the sign, the symptom, where the body needs to compromise, because we still eat like pigs, you know. So the same load of work is as that, but the bank account is smaller, so you need to compromise. So all this energy, this enthusiasm, this wittiness, you know, all this is gonna whoop, slow down. We'll keep breathing, we'll keep beating the heart, you know, and the essential services supplied, but we don't have as much as we had before, you know, to get the whole vitality, creativity, enthusiasm, want to do this, want to do that, da, 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 you know. So this is where we start seeing the decrease of enzyme. So, and these can be supplemented by food enzymes. And then this is the food enzymes. If you eat a raw food, you eat a fruit, that doesn't ask much to the body, because the fruit itself has its own enzyme to break it down, you know, so it self digests pretty much. But most of the things we eat are cooked food, you know, and then they have no enzymes, these food, because the enzymes die at a very low temperature, you know. When you reach, like, if you sustain like a temperature over 45 degrees Celsius, um, you really, like, it really reduced. And if you make a soup, forget it. You cook something, forget it. It's dead. There's no more. So all 100% of the digestion is given to the body to break it down. So so and then now overeat, 3 meals a day, snacks, never stop, all the time, like this. And the body say, this is not, this is always an emergency for the body. You cannot put the digestion aside because you die, it's like you're in digestion and you feel sick and you just cannot. Yeah? So this is always a priority, an important part of the essential services the body has to digest the food. So when you start fermenting the food, now you're condensing, concentrating this quantity of enzymes. It kind of supplies, it gives some support to the body. So it's like you eat and suddenly you take enzyme and the body suddenly say, oh, it's taken care of.
Right.
It's taken care of. So can still invest more onto the metabolic functions. So you have more energy, you start, having more vitality because you have more to invest into that category. So this is the thing with enzymes like this is like it will cleanse because what we talk about digestion for a body, it includes detoxification because we have a natural detoxification system in the body. It's part. Autolysis is part of that. When you do intermittent fasting, for example, or water fasting, your cells are not fasting. They need to eat, otherwise you would be threatening your health. So you need to continue. Your body still needs. So you use autolysis, autophagy, or they call, and to nibble on the reserve, on the fat, on the proteins, dead cells, cysts, and cancer cells, and all this for protein, and all this. You go get what it needs. So that includes that. So when you take those enzymes that are fermented for 3 years, these enzymes become systemic enzyme because you can say, yeah, your enzymes are expensive. I saw enzyme at the natural food store. It's kind of $20. Yeah, but we're not talking about the same thing. Those enzymes over there are digestive enzymes. It's a digestive aid for the digestion, and from fruit to shelf is 2 months. Okay, so we cannot compare that. It's not because we have nothing to do that we say, okay, no, we will leave them for 3 years. Okay, there's a 4-stage process that completely transform that food and transform them into systemic enzymes. That means that they penetrate the system, your system, because the digestive system, even if it looks like it's inside your body, is still considered outside your body. Okay, it needs to be processed to be accepted inside. So through the villi, this is where the transit is happening from the digestive system inside your bloodstream, and this is where it's considered inside. And these enzymes can do that, and then they pursue the digestion or the repair if they need, because enzyme can do that as well, and the nutrition because they're all food. It's not like we're extracting enzyme or we're modifying any natural thing. It's the whole food. We take, sometimes it's the leaves, sometimes the fruit, sometimes the root, but it's the whole thing we're giving. It's not extracts. We're not playing with that. So it's all totally 100% like natural. I would say that Hippocrates would be very happy to work with me. It would be very happy. So you understand that now, that if you supplement that part of your body, and if you be careful not to overeat in the future also, and eat well and all this, well, this you will actually feel all the metabolic function of your system improving and getting more energy, feeling like the maybe the maintenance of your skin, of the vision of your eyes, the muscle mass, all this that was like not a essential service uh, before taking the supplement. Now say, oh, we can invest. So okay,
We have
let's
enough.
tighten
Yeah.
the skin. Let's build some muscle. Let's So you start
Yeah.
seeing like a rejuvenation, walking back in time occurring.
Wow. Yeah, only the body can heal. So, all these things that people take thinking that's going to heal them, it's not how it works. I learned through natural hygiene. You just got to get out of the way. And with the enzymes, since they're pre-digested, anyone can do it. And that's the other magic behind this is, in times past, we always had to be careful about what we did and what we helped others to do because every body is different and everybody's sensitive to certain things. But these are pre-digested. And so there's really not any reactions. There isn't any reactions that you have to worry about. And so it's like, holy cow, it's a perfect system. And with the intestinal, which I've done, so that's going to finish. I like the way you always say it, finish off the digestion in the gut of things that are there that shouldn't be there, leftovers from God knows when and what the stories that we've heard. So that's going to finish off that digestion, and really, like you're saying, like if you're juicing for 6 months, it's still, that's you might get a little farther on that, but that's not the answer either because fruits and vegetables have their own enzymes to digest themselves, not to digest what's left over from, the McDonald's shake that you drank when you were 10, that's still left over, so the sludge that's still there. So it's really quite easy. It's simple, addressing the cause, and that is, there's two causes for dis-ease, and that is things that shouldn't be there, and that are, and things that aren't there that need to be there, and so that's detoxification and nutrition. So you got to create the void first. You have to create the clean slate, like you talked about, um, and that's the cause. That's the cause. That's the first cause. And then you can
Seven leading cause
assimilate.
of death are lifestyle related. They're all about
Yeah,
what you just mentioned.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So it's genius. And when I came across it, my eyes just widened, and I was like, "Oh boy, this is exactly what I was looking for." So I became a fan right away. And it's not medicine, and these are for everyone. I mean, you just can't get a more perfect system. And tell me a little bit about, because I don't even know much about this either. Tell me a little bit about um, not necessarily the process, because you've talked about the processes and how they are fermented for 3 years. And so we're talking about supersonic stuff. We're not talking about, just the stuff off the shelf. We're talking about like supersonic enzymes, but also because of maybe the TCM aspects of it, just where they are and just the whole culture there. There's a whole, like, there's cymatics going on in that room, and there's tell me about the maybe not cymatics, I'm not sure. Tell me about the sound therapies or whatever's going on in that room where they're
Mhm.
fermented, how the whole energies and the frequencies are employed.
Mhm. Yeah. This is if people are familiar with Dr. Emoto's work, I think he kind of brought it to the world. He brought some awareness to the quantum reality of life. The owner, the creator of this factory, is a Buddhist man, businessman. You know, created this. He created this business because it saved his life. Because he was into the micro processor. I think Taiwan are very famous about. He was into this business, but got like his life was threatened by an illness, and he got saved by enzyme, and decided to dedicate a part of his fortune to create factories and to keep also the traditional method, because you can find fermentation in Asia, but they use accelerators. to speed up the process. And they use they kind of compromise, and he did not compromise. This is one aspect I liked also very much. But one thing that I was surprised was when I entered the fermentation room, where it's a place where nobody goes. Just some scientists go check the pH sometime and check the temperature, always going and take some measurements, but it's normally it's in the dark, and in the silence, and nobody go there. So I entered the room. I just got allowed to enter the room to go film a little bit and visit, and there was Buddhist sutra playing into that room, and say, what is that? It's like, not that I was thinking that I was ridiculed, because I wanted to propose them when I knew them more. I wanted to go into that direction with them, but they were ahead of me. They already had this, and so those are fermented into a dark room for 3 years, and they listened to Buddhist sutras for those 3 years.
Wow.
So I don't want to be flaky, but I think that there's wisdom in the juice. There is wisdom in the juice. There is an extra non-mentioned ingredient on the label, and it's a very important one, I would think.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we're doing the same gradually with our storage room, because after it's produced, it's bottled, and it was just packed on pallets. And now I created a new space and with a certain sacred geometry shape, and I will also bring more elements of to raise the vibration of the storage room as well. This is part of the project we have already started.
What we have today, a situation we have is even worse than like when you and I were kind of in the, and I'm just behind you as far as when I was coming up and into all this. Poisons are everywhere, and they always were in our lifetimes, but so much, I believe, so much more now. And we have filters in our body. We can just talk a little bit about that. We have the liver, the kidneys, the lymph. Those are filters. And if we're familiar with our cars, and we have filters in our cars. And I've used this explanation too in the past. We go and they say, you got to, this filter is dirty. You either have to clean it out or you have to replace it. And yes, our bodies are regenerative, and we're not cars. But I always like to say, if you were given one car at 16 years old, and they said that was the only car you'd get your whole life, how would you take care of it? How would you bring it to the best guys? Would you not change the oil? And we're not cars, we're regenerative. But at the same time, with everything going on, everything that we're exposed to, we need to think about cleaning out our filters. And when they become clogged, and they clearly they are, with all the disease that we have, we went through heroic efforts to try to clean that stuff out. And with the enzymes, it's just incredible how and I know that you talked about the 5 elements. So even though the medical industrial complex, they compartmentalize the body, I know that you don't, TCM doesn't, but you do have different now kits for different. Let me say this right. You have different kits that focus on certain parts of the body, but they don't just work on certain parts of the body, because the body is a whole thing, right? And so when you're doing the intestinal cleanse, yeah, it's focusing on that, but the enzymes are getting systemically. I'm doing the lung one right now. And so even though it's targeting the lungs, the enzymes are systemic. They go systemic. And so you really can't go wrong. But we don't want with these kits, we don't want to start thinking like the medical model and compartmentalize the body, because that's not how the body works. Even on the different levels, we're not just physical beings. Our emotions are going to come into play with cleansing, and that's part of the cleansing process. So I love how ZenCleanz incorporates all those ideas. And I know that you guys are going to, I know you just upgraded your website, and you're going to be talking more about kind of some of this stuff. And I know with the coaching that goes on with the Telegram threads now, we talk about that. And I read every single comment, I think. And so the people that you have on there as admins, they address the other aspects of detox and cleansing. They address like the liver cleanse and how usually emotions of anger and rage are housed usually in the liver, and how things might come up. And so cleansing and detox is not, as you know, and I'm talking to my audience now, not you, it is not just about a physical process. It's goes much deeper than that. And it will, if you do, I did a 3-week water fast in Costa Rica once, and I'll tell you what, if you do a 3-week water only fast, you will meet your demons. You will meet them face right. And so you will learn what's coming up for you, and that's with every cleanse, really. If you allow it, you cannot allow it too. Because emotions are in your body. They're emotion, they're in motion, they are physical aspects of yourself. And so that is all part of the process too. And so I just don't want to leave for people to think that this is just a physical product. It's not. It comes with
Nothing is.
other. Yeah. So
Nothing
talk about
is
that.
that you know is like a banana is not. Nothing is.
Yeah.
It's just our understanding and our education did not teach us this way. But we are a tri-essence being, right? This is inseparable. You change the physical, it's not like you will change the emotional. It changes at the same time. It's like if you move a dice, if you move dice from one side, every side is flipping at the same time. So this is the same. You have a thought. You think about something that a beautiful thing, and then your whole body, you feel the body expanding at the same time, the heart opening, and then you start thinking of your dog may have crossed the road and got hit by a car, and it's the opposite, the contraction and the poison in the vein, adrenals and heartbeat and all this, it's all moving together. And I'm giving like very extreme examples, but everything that we alter, even when it's more subtle, it affects the whole. It's the whole. It's just three aspects, three languages of the body. Just the three languages, three expression of the body. The physical body is the part we see. The emotional part is the part we feel. And the mental part is the part we imagine. so it's all moving together. And as we approach the body physically in a detox, it's important that we stay open to the fact that you may have some changes happening there, and it's not because something is really happening into your reality, because you may work on your liver and then suddenly, all your kids are bad and your husband is bad, and the society is suddenly bad on that day all at the same time. It's just come a projection of everything is not is tainted, from that feeling that is coming to the surface. And it's a good thing because what is detoxing the body is letting the toxins come to the surface and allowing them to leave. And at the emotional level is the same. But what tools do we have? So that's why we offer some support, and that's why we have people like you who did this work with your clients. Like you help them to stay with it, to allow it, to process it, to transform it, because it's this energy finally got back into motion. The emotion, the energy in motion. When you open a part, you open an organ. Oh, you're freeing toxins, but at the same time, you're freeing trapped energy, and this energy start moving again. And then, okay. And then if you're not aware, you'll make stories out of it and you will bring this energy back. You will, and you know, you'll create a story and another armor. You're going to contract again around that energy that you don't want to feel, because that's what energy blockages are. And this is oftentimes the root cause, which is, doesn't always come from food or from toxins or poison or anything, because these aspect, mental, spiritual, emotional, are also creating toxins, and intoxicating physically the body as well. So it's very important. That's not for nothing. The liver cleanse is called forgive.
Forgive, right?
Yeah.
It reminds me of German New Medicine. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but German New Medicine is built on the precipice of that all dis-ease starts with some kind of trauma or just an emotional a cause, and it's a matter of how it's going to manifest. Like some people manifest in certain areas. All cancers, let's say, there's invariably the person that I forget his name, but invariably person who studied this came up with everybody that gets, let's say, breast cancer. It starts with the same kind of emotion. Everyone that gets this other certain cancer starts with an emotion. And so when you want to heal, what you just said is true. You have to visit those other aspects and expect them and welcome them to come to the surface, because that's part of it. That's part of your healing. So I wanted to ask you, lastly, unless you wanted to add anything else too, is what you see for I think I know some of the answers to this, but what you see for ZenCleanz in the near future and in maybe the distant future, what you see for the whole company.
Hmm. Well, we're completing now with the five elements. With the kidney coming, kidney and genitals, pelvic floor coming
Oh,
uh,
wow.
in the coming weeks. Once this is done, and this is why I moved here, we're getting into the holistic aspect, as you just mentioned. So we're going to create like all community based as we are growing and getting even stronger. We are here to develop educational channel about this, because we can take workshops, we can take sessions, but it still takes 10,000 hours to go around. And this is only about repetition, So if you just a workshop once in a while and a retreat in the winter and a session, a few session a year, you know, you don't make it. This is why I I said, this should have been taught since kindergarten, slowly through your 12-year process sitting in school, and you would end up like being a master of your body, mind, spirit, already ready to go and be happy, but right now most of the people, the early birds, starts when they come out and start to fly by themselves at the 20, 25. That's the early one. But most people, it's only when the first symptoms of sickness start to show that wakes them up, and then start looking and initiate their journey. So we need to speed up this, and this is what we are investing. So the a holistic training, non-dogmatic, where we're gonna invite our affiliate, different tradition. We're gonna share everything, but give a structure, not all over the place, the way it is now. Because well, our biggest dream is to unite the natural healers and the natural health promoters, and I include the mountain guides, the everyone who contributes to a healthy lifestyle, to unite them, to offer different options, to offer different colors, but as long as it's classified into a structure where where the weakness of your energy investment. Because some people would say, oh, me, yoga or exercise, I don't like that. I prefer meditation. As if as if meditation were replacing exercise. Maybe if you become like a ascended master, you can become Mr. Universe sitting in a sofa. But I know I can fly. We can fly, but I'm not ready to jump off the bridge, the building yet. So we want to. You need to design a personalized, customized, healthy lifestyle, and this is building this community with our affiliates, our coaches that are linked to ZenCleanz. And here we want to create a portal, a TV channel where we're going to stream full time. You can
Okay.
constantly have these holistic training available. So this is why I'm here to develop this. In terms of products, I mean, we will have more and more like retreats and coaching to support the people journeying with using the enzyme for sure. Right now we have the forum on Telegram, but that was not, we were not expecting such a takeoff with this. I think we need to. We started that already. Hired people to structure and gather the information so people can start uh, uh, using the forum for personal research, and we will place
Yep.
it into another uh, software
Yep.
system, so it's easy to research. And yeah, what we need is motivation, is inspiration. So this is what we want to grow, and this is already come out. People get it. People see it, feel it. There's something that resonate with the human being in the way we're doing things. Um, because we're not we're open to whatever people are, all the steps people are taking. People want to try something else, and they want to they want to. We're never say you don't do that, or we're the best, or whatever. We know we're the best in terms of enzymes, but in terms of lifestyle and what you prefer and what other complementary tools you can find, we encourage people, go for it. I use all the time different things, to take care of myself. So this is where we're heading, more and more strengthening the community and uniting the healers. That's why the Zen intestinal cleanse is called One, because when I discovered the enzymes, I also had the vision that this could unite us, because we're too divided. We need to work together. We have our specialties. We have our forte, and some other people. We need to work together, and we need something to unite us. And this is the dream beyond selling enzymes.
With that said, your company is developing an affiliate program that is really nice. And
Mm-hmm.
so the whole marketing that you're doing there is real helpful, and also is just a dynamite model for people that are going to talk about the product anyway, and to spread the word that way, and to offer the commissions for people that are that know people, or
Yes.
coaches like myself. Yeah. So um, that's just another aspect to it. Unfortunately, we have the money system right now, but it's an exchange. It's an energy exchange, is all it is, right? And hopefully we'll move beyond that at some point. But right now, that is what we're living under. That's the system, and so by just taking that also to a level that you can reward people that talk about your products and use them and want to help others also.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a win-win. You
Yes,
guys win. And
exactly. In this system, You know, I hesitated a lot before accepting that model because I had prejudices on them, because what I knew from the multi-level marketing before, we had to boost the retail price. So it was distributor oriented, and there was a loser into this. The user was paying too much for the real price of that thing because you had to pay for the online. But we using a 3-level marketing, so that means like you can be rewarded for you, but for spreading the word and spreading around you, and in order to either get a little bit of money back, either get your product for free at some point, or literally making a career around it and making money, you know, without penalizing the end user. We did not have, when we made the shift from the old model we had to the new model, we did not have to increase the retail price. And
Yeah.
so this is what, how you say, win-win is like, yeah, sure. It's like you spreading, you're kind of an advocate of health in your community. Nice, you know, and at the same time, it bounds some kind of a teamwork together.
Right.
So I think there's something that is more connected to the soul of the company this way.
Yeah. I think that's the way forward. It has to be win-win. You know, the way forward has to be, because that's not been the system thus far. So, yeah.
And the end user has been fooled and abused enough. Enough. We need to become an asset in people's health, and then the people will be happy to support
Right.
them. And this is the spirit we navigate in.
Yeah. Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know I caught you off guard today a little bit, but I appreciate your time, and I know my audience is going to appreciate learning more about the ZenCleanz, because I've been really talking about it quite a bit, and it is the way forward for my clients too. Your program with the kits are just going to support so many people, and it's exactly, I know I've said this a million times, just what I was looking for. And so this video is going to be watched numerous times when people start to get to know your products, and they want to know who you are. They want to know the basics, you know, of how it works and how it was created. And so it's really helpful. I really appreciate it. So
we can go in another session eventually. I can explain why and how the enzyme work and move through the body and operate the cleansing system. This can be so that can be interesting for the people to understand that.
Yeah, I would love that. Maybe we can get into some of the specific kits, I guess.
And
Yeah,
how they work
and
together also, because it's not linear, like we give them a name and this is the liver kit or this is the kidney kit, but we change with the elements, because in reality, when you start cleansing the intestine, you already start cleansing your kidneys, and you already start
yeah,
cleansing your liver, and you have parasites coming out and heavy metal
yeah,
already. So it doesn't work in the linear way as extract may do. What we knew before, you know, it's different. We can talk about this on the
yeah. That would be great. That would be great. I know you're a busy guy, though.
Anyway, I like to talk with you, and I talk about this anyway all the time.
All right, Daniel, zooming.
Yeah.